There's something terrifying about realizing that hope can become a prison. People always say things like, give it time, you'll figure it out, life gets better eventually. But nobody talks about what happens when you've been waiting for eventually your entire life. What happens when years pass and you're still standing in the same emotional place, just older and more exhausted? That's the part that slowly destroys you. The fear that time isn't healing you, it's just carrying you quietly toward disappointment. Because one day you wake up and realize life never actually paused for your pain. It just kept moving. Seasons changed, people changed, everyone kept growing around you while you stayed trapped inside the same emptiness you thought you would escape by now. And suddenly you started grieving time itself. Not just lost relationships, not just missed chances, but lost years. Years spent telling yourself maybe next year will be different. Years spent surviving instead of living. Years spent watching other people become something while you're still trying to convince yourself not to give up. That kind of realization hits differently at night, because during the day, distractions lie to you. You can work, scroll endlessly, laugh at things you don't actually find funny, pretend you're okay long enough to make it through another day. But nighttime is honest. Nighttime forces you to sit with every thought you tried outrunning. And that's when it really sinks in. What if nothing changes? What if this ache isn't temporary? What if loneliness isn't a phase? What if life never becomes more than this endless cycle of waiting for a version of yourself that never arrives? People love saying, keep pushing forward, but nobody explains what you're supposed to do when forward feels just as empty as when you came from. That's the cruel part. You keep moving because stopping would mean admitting defeat, but deep down you're not even sure what you're fighting for anymore. It starts feeling like dragging yourself through emotional quicksand. Every little step takes everything out of you. You try to improve yourself, try to stay hopeful, try to become stronger, but the weight never leaves. It just changes shape. Some day it feels like numbness, other days it feels like anger. Sometimes it's exhausted, so deep your soul feels tired. And the worst part, most people never notice, because pain doesn't always look tragic. Sometimes it looks like a person still replying, I'm good, because explaining the truth takes too much energy. Sometimes it looks like forcing smiles and conversations while internally feeling disconnected from everyone around you. Sometimes it looks like lying in bed staring at the ceiling for hours because sleep means waking up and doing all this again tomorrow. People think depression is a dramatic sadness, but sometimes it's just a slow death of excitement. Nothing feels meaningful anymore. Nothing feels worth looking forward to. You remember being younger and thinking adulthood would finally make sense, that eventually you'd become somebody, that someday you'd feel complete. But instead you grow older and realize nobody actually knows what they're doing. Most people are just surviving quietly, trying to distract themselves from the emptiness long enough to get through another week and another year. And honestly, that realization is horrifying, because society teaches us that suffering has purpose, that hard work eventually pays off emotionally, that loneliness builds character, that patience brings reward. But what if sometimes it doesn't? What if some people spend their whole lives carrying invisible sadness nobody notices? What if some people really do give everything they have and still end up alone? That thought sticks in your chest like poison, because once your mind goes there, it's hard to come back from it. You start questioning everything. Why keep trying? Why keep hoping? Why keep forcing yourself through days that all blur together anyway? And maybe the deepest pain isn't even sadness anymore. Maybe it's emptiness. Because sadness at least means you still feel something strongly. But emptiness is waking up and feeling emotionally disconnected from your own life. Like you're watching everyone else experience being human while you just intimidated. You laugh because you're supposed to, talk because silence makes people uncomfortable, keep going because you don't know what else to do. But internally, part of you checked out a long time ago, and nobody sees it because you become too good at hiding it. That's when loneliness does after enough years. It stops feeling sharp, it becomes quiet, permanent, like background noise in your soul. And sometimes the scariest moments are the calm ones, the moments where you stop crying about it entirely. Because that's when you realize exhaustion has replaced emotion. You're not even asking life to be amazing anymore, you just want it to feel worth surviving. You want one more reason to believe all this pain is leading somewhere, one genuine connection, one moment that feels real, one person who sees the heaviness in you and stays anyway. Because carrying life alone for too long changes a person. It makes simple things feel impossible. Getting out of bed becomes a battle. Replying to messages feels draining. Even imagining a future becomes difficult because your brain automatically assumes disappointment. And still people say things like, just stay positive. As if positivity can fix the crushing weight of feeling emotionally lost in your own existence. As if hope comes naturally to people who've spent years watching life pass them by. The truth is, some people are exhausted from carrying invisible pain nobody ever helped them with. Pain from feeling unwanted, forgettable, behind in life, emotionally standing, while everyone else seems to keep moving. And eventually, you start wondering if happiness is something meant for other people. You begin feeling like life is happening everywhere except inside you, like everybody else got handed a map for living while you're wandering through darkness, pretending you know where you're going. And maybe that's what breaks people the most. Not one terrible moment, but thousands of small disappointments building up over years until the weight becomes unbearable. The unanswered messages, the empty nights, the dreams that never happened, the feeling that nobody would truly notice how bad things are inside your head. It slowly convinces you that maybe this really is all life is. Endless pushing, endless waiting, endless convincing yourself that someday things will feel different, while secretly fearing they never will. And the cruelest part, even after all that pain, a tiny piece of you still hopes, still waits, still wonders if maybe tomorrow will finally feel lighter. Because human beings are tragic like that. Even broken hearts continue searching for reasons to keep breathing. And maybe that's what nobody understands about people who are truly tired. Not I need sleep tired, not rough week tired. I mean the kind of tired that settles into your bones and changes the way you experience being alive. The kind where you or even breathing starts feeling like effort. You start recognizing yourself after a while, not physically, internally. You remind versions of yourself that used to feel more intensely, versions of you that laughed without even forcing it, versions of you that believed life was eventually going to become something meaningful. And now you most likely feel just numb, mixed with exhausted, like your soul has been carrying too much weight for too many years without rest. People think pain always arrives as some dramatic tragedy, but honestly the worst pain is usually slow. Slow disappointment, slow loneliness, slow realization. The realization that nobody is coming to save you. That one destroys people quietly. Because as kids, most of us grew up believing that life eventually makes sense. That one day the loneliness fades, that confusion settles in. You finally feel like you're being alone and you belong somewhere. But then adulthood comes and you realize some people spend their entire life emotionally starving while pretending they're okay. That realization is enough to hollow somebody out, especially when you spend years trying to improve yourself, trying to stay hopeful, trying not to become bitter, trying to become the pain had a purpose. But eventually you reach a point where your mind starts asking questions you can't answer anymore. What if nothing changes? What if this is the best life ever gets for me? What if I'm just one of those people who exist to watch everybody else be happy? And those thoughts don't leave once they enter your head. They sit there during quiet moments, during car rides, during showers, during sleepless nights at 3 a.m. when the world is silent enough for your real thoughts to finally speak. And your real thoughts are brutal, because deep down, version of you, the hopeful version, the version that thought love was eventually coming, the version that thought life would feel meaningful by now. That person slowly faded over time, not because they wanted to die, because disappointment slowly suffocated them. And nobody notices when a person dies emotionally, because only notice once it affects them. So you continue functioning. You show up, you reply, you smile when expected, but internally, you feel disconnected from everything, like there's a glass separating you from the rest of the world. You can see happiness, see connection, see people building lives, falling in love, finding purpose, but you can't feel any of it for yourself. You just watch it happen from a distance, wondering why existing feels so much easier for everyone else. And eventually the loneliness becomes physical. That's the scary part. It stops being emotional and starts living in your body. Heavy chest, constant exhaustion, random waves of sadness that hit for no reason. That emptiness feeling in your stomach when you realize another day passed and nothing changed. Sometimes you sit alone so long that silence itself starts hurting. You start craving things so basic it almost feels pathetic. A real conversation, someone checking on you first, someone noticing your absence, and someone genuinely wanting you around. Not reading something from you and needing something from you, not using you as a temporary comfort, actually wanting you. Do you know how painful it is to go years without feeling genuinely chosen? People underestimate that kind of loneliness. It changes the way you see yourself. At first you think, I just haven't found my people yet. Then eventually it becomes, maybe there's a reason nobody stays. The thought poisons everything. Because once somebody starts believing they're fundamentally hard to leave, every interaction becomes proof. Every unanswered text feels personal. Every rejection feels permanent. And every silence feels confirming. And the worst part is how convincing your own mind becomes. Your brain starts collecting evidence against your worth. You're forgettable. You're behind in life. You wasted your best years. Nobody actually needs you. Meanwhile, you're still expected to function normally. Still expected to work, talk, laugh, and keep going. That's what's so cruel about life sometimes. The world doesn't stop because you're breaking internally. Bills still exist. Time still move. People still expect things from you, even when you feel emotionally dead inside. And honestly, sometimes you become jealous of people who still feel excited about life. Not because you hate them, because you miss knowing what that feels like. You miss waking up with energy instead of dread. You miss believing your future held something meaningful. Now the future just feels like more time. More days to survive. More nights to overthink. More pretending. More wanting to feeling that never fully arrives. And nobody prepares you for how dangerous hopelessness becomes when it lasts too long. Because eventually when you stop imagining better days entirely, you stop dreaming, stop expecting, and stop emotionally investing in anything because disappointment becomes too familiar. You tell yourself, don't give your hopes up about everything. Love, friendships, your future, yourself. That sentence slowly drains color out of life. And what really hurts is realizing how many people around you probably feel the exact same emptiness but never say it out loud. There are people walking around carrying unbearable sadness behind completely normal faces. People who smile in public then fall apart alone at night. People who secretly wish someone would ask them if they're really okay and actually wait for the honest answer. But most people don't, because everyone's distracted trying to survive their own pain, so we all slowly bleed internally beside each other without noticing. And maybe that's the most depressing thing about being human. How lonely all of us really are underneath everything. How badly we all want connection while pretending we don't need anybody. How many people go years without hearing words they desperately needed? I'm glad you're here. You matter to me. I see how hard you're trying. You don't have to carry everything alone. Some people have gone their whole lives waiting to hear those words sincerely. And after enough years, they stop waiting altogether. That's when the emptiness becomes dangerous, because sadness still carries hope inside it. But numbness is what happens when hope finally gets too tired to continue. And maybe that's where the deepest pain lives. Not in crying, not in heartbreak, but in becoming someone so emotionally exhausted that you no longer know how to imagine a life that feels worth staying awake for. Yet somehow, you still wake up every single morning, even with the weight, even with the emptiness, even with the terrifying thought that maybe nothing changes. You still wake up, and honestly, maybe that's the rarest kind